Timothy Treadwell, born Timothy William Dexter on April 29, 1957, was an American bear enthusiast, environmentalist, and documentary filmmaker and founder of the bear protection organization Grizzly People. He lived among coastal brown bears, which he called grizzly bears, in Katmai National Park in Alaska for 13 summers. A lover of animals since he was a child, Treadwell decided to travel to Alaska to watch bears after a close friend convinced him to do so. He wrote that after his first encounter with a wild bear, he knew he had found his calling in life, and that now his destiny was entwined with those of the bears. Treadwell spent the early part of each season camping on the Big Green, an open area of bear grass in Hallow Bay, on the Katmai coast. He called the area the Grizzly Sanctuary. Treadwell was known for getting extremely close to the bears he observed, sometimes even touching them and playing with bear cubs. In his book, he claimed that he was always careful with the bears and actually developed a sense of mutual trust and respect with the animals. He habitually named the bears he encountered, and consistently saw many of the same bears each summer, so claimed to build a standing relationship with them. In contrast, Tom Smith, a research ecologist with the Alaska Science Center of the U.S. Geological Service, declared that Treadwell was breaking every park rule that there was in terms of distance to the bears, harassing wildlife, and interfering with natural processes. Right off the bat, his personal mission was at odds with the Park Service. By 2001, Treadwell became sufficiently notable to receive extensive media attention both on television and in environmental circles, and he made frequent public appearances as an environmental activist. Treadwell's years with the bears were not without disruption. Almost from the start, the National Park Service expressed their worries about his behavior. In October 2003, Treadwell and his girlfriend, physician assistant Amy Huguenot, visited Katmai National Park, on the Alaska Peninsula across Shelikof Strait from Kodiak Island. In Grizzly Man, Werner Herzog states that according to Treadwell's diaries, Huguenot feared bears and felt very uncomfortable in their presence. Her final journal entries indicated that she wanted to be away from Katmai. Treadwell set his campsite near a salmon stream where wild bears commonly feed in autumn. Treadwell was in the park later in the year than normal, at a time when bears attempt to gain as much fat as possible before winter. Food was scarce that fall, causing the bears to be even more aggressive than usual. Treadwell and Huguenot were to leave the park at his usual time of year, and had actually returned to Kodiak on September 26 to store the gear for the season and catch a connecting flight to return to their home in California. After an argument with the airline ticketer over the price of altering his return ticket, Treadwell and Huguenot made the decision to return to their campsite on September 29 for an additional week. Treadwell also wanted to locate a favorite female brown bear that he was concerned about. He said he hated modern civilization and felt better in nature with the bears than he did in big cities around humans. The bears he had been used to during the summer had already gone into hibernation, and bears that Treadwell did not know from other parts of the park were moving into the area. Some of the last footage taken by Treadwell, hours before his death, includes video of a bear diving into the river repeatedly for a piece of dead salmon. Treadwell mentioned in the footage that he did not feel entirely comfortable around that particular bear. In Grizzly Man, Herzog speculates on whether Treadwell filmed the very bear that killed him. Around noon on Sunday, October 5, 2003, Treadwell spoke with an associate in Malibu, California. By satellite phone, Treadwell mentioned no problems with any bears. The next day, October 6, Willie Fulton, a Kodiak air taxi pilot, arrived at Treadwell and Huguenot's campsite to pick him up but found the area abandoned, except for a bear, and contacted the local park rangers. The couple's mangled remains were discovered quickly upon investigation. Treadwell's disfigured head, partial spine, and right forearm and hand, with his wristwatch still on, were recovered a short distance from the camp. Huguenot's partial remains were found next to the torn and collapsed tents, partially buried in a mound of twigs and dirt. A large male bear, tagged Bear 14, protecting the campsite was killed by park rangers during their attempt to retrieve the bodies. A second adolescent bear was also killed a short time later, when it charged the park rangers. An on-site necropsy of Bear 141 revealed human body parts such as fingers and limbs. The younger bear was consumed by other animals before it could be necropsied. In the 85-year history of Katmai National Park, this was the first known incident of a person being killed by a bear. A video camera recovered at the site proved to have been operating during the attack, but police said that the 6-minute tape contained only voices and cries as a brown bear mauled Treadwell to death. The tape begins with Treadwell yelling that he is being attacked. Treadwell screams, "Come out here, I'm being killed out here." Huguenot tells Treadwell to play dead. That strategy is commonly used to pacify angry bears in an attack. But Treadwell told Huguenot the strategy wasn't working, and she then urged him to fight back. Treadwell, who never carried weapons, then asked her to get a pan and to hit the bear. At that point, the tape stops. Much of it is fuzzy or inaudible. Investigators had found the camera inside a bag they picked up at the couple's campsite. The beginning of the tape included video and audio of Treadwell interacting with the bears in the days before the attack. That the tape contained only sound led troopers to believe the attack might have happened while the camera was stuffed in the duffel bag or during the dark of night. In Grizzly Man, filmmaker Herzog claims that the lens cap of the camera was left on, suggesting that Treadwell and Huguenot were in the process of setting up for another video sequence when the attack happened. The camera had been turned on just before the attack, presumably by sound activation, but the camera recorded only 6 minutes of audio before running out of tape. This, however, was enough time to record the bear's initial attack on Treadwell and his agonized screams, its retreat after Huguenot tells Treadwell to play dead, and when she attacked it, and its return to carry Treadwell off into the forest. Thanks for watching. For more videos please click like and subscribe.